Mike Tyson found himself behind bars, a place where reputation meant everything. He wasn't just another inmate. Everyone knew his name. Some admired him, others resented him, and a few saw him as a challenge. Prison was ruled by unspoken laws, divided by race and power. Among the most dangerous groups was a white supremacist gang that controlled a section of the yard, intimidating anyone they considered weak. If you want to know how Mike Tyson will survive, then make sure you subscribe and follow till the end of the story. Tyson had no interest in prison politics. He wanted to keep his head down, serve his time, and move on. He had fought his entire life. First on the streets, then in the ring, and now in a different kind of battlefield. He knew the dangers of prison, how one wrong move could mean everything spiraling out of control. But to the gang, he was just another black man who needed to be put in his place. They didn't see the fighter, the world champion, the man who had spent his entire life in the ring. They only saw an opportunity. The gang started with whispers. They called him washed up, claimed he wasn't the man he used to be. They spread rumors that he was scared, that he was all talk. Tyson ignored it. He had spent a lifetime dealing with people who wanted to test him. People who wanted to see if he was as tough as his reputation. But in prison, ignoring a challenge could be seen as weakness, and weakness could be deadly. At first, it was just words. But then came the small provocations, one of them deliberately bumping into him in the hallway, another knocking his food tray over in the mess hall. Tyson still didn't react. He had nothing to prove. He wasn't going to fight over something so petty. But the gang took his silence as fear. They thought he was weak, and in prison, if you were weak, you didn't last long. If you are enjoying this story, make sure you have subscribe and follow. One afternoon in the yard, the gang decided to make their move. It was the perfect moment. The guards were distracted, and most of the other inmates were too far away to intervene. The leader of the gang, a tall, heavily tattooed man with a swastika inked on his neck, stepped forward. His crew flanked him on both sides, forming a loose circle around Tyson. It started with a shove, then a taunt. "You ain't so tough," the leader sneered, his voice dripping with arrogance. Tyson took a deep breath, refusing to take the bait. He had nothing to prove. He had learned long ago that real strength wasn't just about fighting. It was about knowing when not to fight. But they weren't looking for a fair fight. They wanted to send a message. One of them threw a punch at the back of Tyson's head. Another lunged from the side. Instinct took over. Before they even knew what was happening, Tyson had slipped the punch and countered with a body shot so fast and brutal it sent the first attacker crumpling to the ground. A sharp gasp rippled through the yard. The second man came at him, but Tyson moved like a ghost. He weaved, dodged, and delivered an uppercut that lifted the man off his feet before he crashed onto the concrete, unconscious before he even hit the ground. The others hesitated now, realizing too late who they were dealing with. This wasn't just some washed-up boxer past his prime. This was Mike Tyson. One by one, they charged. One by one, they fell. A hook to the ribs, a jab to the jaw, a perfectly placed cross that sent another crashing into the dirt. Tyson wasn't just fighting. He was dismantling them, effortlessly, brutally, like he had done in the ring 1,000 times before. The gang leader, the one with the swastika tattoo, was the last one standing. For a moment, he hesitated. He had underestimated Tyson, just like the rest of them. But now, his pride was on the line. He couldn't back down in front of his men. He clenched his fists and lunged at Tyson with all his strength. Tyson didn't move. He waited. The moment the man swung, Tyson slipped the punch, stepping to the side with perfect precision. Then, with terrifying speed, he countered with a devastating right hook. The impact was like thunder. The gang leader's body went limp before he even hit the ground. He landed face, first in the dirt unconscious. Silence. The entire prison yard had stopped to watch. Every inmate, every guard, every soul behind those walls had witnessed what had just happened. The message was clear. Mike Tyson was not a man to be tested. The guards rushed in, breaking the tension as they dragged Tyson away before things could escalate further. The warden, knowing the gang wouldn't take this humiliation lightly, placed him in solitary confinement for his own protection. Alone in his cell, Tyson stared at the ceiling. He had spent his whole life fighting, on the streets, in the ring, and now in prison. Was this all there was? A never-ending cycle of violence? Days passed, then weeks, and something changed. Younger inmates started approaching him, not as challengers, but as students. They didn't want to fight him. They wanted to learn from him. They asked for advice, for training, for guidance. And for the first time in his life, Tyson realized he could use his fists for something more than destruction. He started training them, not just in boxing, but in control, discipline, self-respect. He told them about his own mistakes, about the battles he fought inside and outside the ring. The gang never tried him again. Maybe they feared another beating. Maybe they respected him now. Maybe they saw that he was fighting a different battle, the battle to be something more than just another fighter. And for the first time in years, Tyson felt something unexpected. Not just strength, not just survival. Hope. If you enjoyed this story, make sure you subscribe and follow for more stories. Thank you for watching.